weird that we're doing.
It's kind of.
It's like my throat is crippling.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Just feeling.
Hey guys. I'm excited to do this idea. I'm excited to have Ethan along on board for this. What we've really been trying to do with Bible study and No Other Hope is we have a desire to make Christians who are fully equipped, both heart and minds, in worshiper and disciple. And so we're going to be doing going through Real Christianity by William Wilberforce as a Bible study, and also putting this out, these conversations, going through the book and the key points on our YouTube page, just to see what happens with that too. But this is focused for Bible study, and we're excited to see. I was actually reading our AP Euro history book, and it totally just skipped over the fact that Christians, despite all of our flaws, Christians were the one who abolished slavery and pushed for the end of slavery, and we just said, oh, slavery ended, and left it at that. But I think there's such an important part where we're seeing history attacked. We're trying to see Christians removed and Christians villainized, but it's actually take a moment, step back, and say, whoa, look what Christians like William Wilberforce did and how they impacted the world. And Christianity has impacted the world for good. And so William Wilberforce was a politician, but he also wrote this book talking about the centralness of faith in the Christian life. And we're seeing that lack of that centrality of faith, both in William Wilberforce's day, but also in our day. And reading this book, I got it for Christmas, really convicted me of that in my own life. And so this stat, even, it was crazy, I heard this the other day. The Barna study did a study that 46% of Christians in the United States say that their faith is not central to their lives. And I think that is a stunning fact, that almost half of Christians, people who say they're Christians, say, yeah, my faith, I'm a Christian, but my faith is not something central to my life. That's a big problem.
And that's kind of crazy, and I think that goes along with a lot of the Bible stats that we're seeing. I mean, you sent me a video not that long ago of the positive effects of reading the Bible and stuff, but along with that, how many people who say they're Christians actually aren't reading the Bible, aren't in the Word, don't really care. So yeah, reading this first chapter of this book was a good wake-up call, and shows that the problems they were dealing with back then are still, unfortunately, very real today. So yeah, kind of how can we address that moving forward?
It's convicting.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my hope for Bible studies. I realize that I only have a few months left of I want to leave you guys as Christians, and I know Ethan feels the same way, as Christians who take their faith seriously, Christians who take their faith as a real faith, not just something that we do on Sundays, do at Bible study, but something that fully encompasses life. And William Wilberforce, his story is incredible. The Amazing Grace movie does it the best.
That movie
I highly recommend from both of us, it sounds like. He worked his whole life. He was a Christian in politics, which I think is also a cool dynamic that we should dive into later. Not today, but at a later time. Where he worked his whole life, and right 3 days before his death, he saw the British slave trade abolished. And I think it shows just that obedience is faithfulness is obedience in a long direction. So I think that's seeing his life of obedience and just constantly being faithful again and again and again. And it took his whole life. So I think that's cool. So diving into the first quote, we're just going to kind of go through some quotes here because it's one thing to read the book, which we highly recommend.
Yes,
but we're just going to kind of dive through some things here and just really summarize those points that really stood out to us, convicted us. So I want to start with his first quote. He said this: "You might think that if you consider yourself a good person, you are against bad things, your faith is adequate. The fact is that you might not be a Christian at all, but simply a moral person. You might understand that our culture has adopted without understanding what constitutes authentic faith. You might know some of the basic facts about Christianity, but you have no idea how those facts should apply to your life." And that's the end of the quote. But I think that there's so much in there of when we come to Bible study, we go to church, we go to Christian schools, we know the facts, but the Pharisees knew the facts.
Yeah.
And it's how those facts apply to your life.
Yeah. And I'd say this was me for a long time. I'm sure this is a lot of our stories from what I've heard from other people, but up until my junior year, this is how I kind of lived my life. I wasn't really devoted to God, and I'm always thinking about this reality perspective, asking God to pull back the curtain and let me see how things really are behind the scenes, because the reality is that God is real. It's just kind of whether or not we choose to see that and pursue that. So just kind of being hit with that truth is kind of life changing, and it's important to remember that and take that with us as we think about this.
Yeah, and I think we live in a culture too that's so easy for Christians to fall into, of we like to be good, and we focus on being good and being against bad things. That's so easy, and I see that in my life, and I see that just in the culture of Christianity in America, especially young people, Gen Z Christianity. But I feel like at the same time, our generation's trying to push this off a little bit.
Yeah.
Of it's, I want to be good, I'm going to do the good things, and if I'm do the good things, I'm a Christian. That's not Christianity at all, and we're adding something to the gospel.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're totally forgetting the gospel. And I think that here, William Wilberforce is saying, no, it's not the things you know, it's not the things you do. Real Christianity is so much deeper than that, and that's what he's setting up for the rest of the book. Then he talks about the problem with this way of thinking in this next quote. This next quote's cool. He says, the problem with this way of thinking is that authentic faith cannot be inherited. When Christianity is viewed in this way, intelligent and energetic young men will undoubtedly reach a point where they question the truth of Christianity, and when challenged, they will abandon this inherited faith that they cannot defend. This might be to associate with peers who are unbelievers. In this company, they will find themselves unable to intelligently respond to the objections of Christianity, which they are confronted. Had they really known what they believed and why they believed it, these kinds of encounters would not shake their faith one bit, end quote. And I think this is really my heart for Bible study, my heart for everything that we're doing, is we see so many Christians fall away in college, Christian kids, and it's because we have inherited faith. We have the faith of our parents and grandparents who take us to church, and then we challenged it, and we're like, wait, that makes more sense your way, because I'm not deep in my faith at all. And so when you're shallow, boom, there's no roots to take you.
Yeah, you can challenge me on this too, but I'd say this goes beyond the apologetics that we normally think of and stuff.
Yeah.
Like defending your faith, like science-wise and all of that, which is very important that we do that. But I think there's also the relational aspect in there. You need to be able to look back over your life and see areas where God has been faithful. And I think that can really influence how strong your faith is. And when you face opposition, you can look back at those times and say, well, no, I know God is good and He's faithful. I've seen it before in my life.
You need to experience God for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's such a good point of you need to, and it's more than just the facts of the apologetical facts. And I think those are important. There's a place, but you need to know why you're rooted in God. And as you were saying exactly perfectly, of it's experience based.
Yeah.
Of why do you follow God? And it's not that everything's feeling based, because that's not true. Your feelings are going to lie to you. But it's knowing I was dead in my sin and now I'm not. There was a radical life change that happened in my life, and I know that I can't go back. And so when you know that, you're not going to shake in your faith. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah. And I think, this is important right here in this. William Wilberforce, this is such a short quote, but these are eternal issues and the stakes are high. And I think that we like to play around and almost play games with our faith. Maybe I'm in, maybe I'm out. I'm gonna experiment with this, and it feels good here, and it's just one more thing that you do in the week of things that you do. No, this is an eternal issue. The stakes are high. They're so high.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that. There's so many people out there. I was hearing about Aaron Rodgers actually recently, who are just searching so much, kind of playing around with this eternity concept. People who believe that there's something beyond this life, but either don't care or are not looking for it in the right places. And it's just so important that we get this right. And it's so easy to miss as well. But this is literally going to be our future forever. And we really have to live like that.
I mean, it's foolish not to.
Yeah.
Is the thing. It's foolish not to. And I mean, these quotes build on one another. He builds his argument so well. Even when you just take clips of it, but reading it in the book is so much better. But for the sake of here, this is such a good quote. No one expects to reach the heights of success in education, the arts, finance, athletics without a great deal of hard work and perseverance. We often use the expression, you really have to want it. Growing in our faith requires the same. Christianity is based on a revelation from God that is filled with information that the natural mind could never imagine. The wealth of this knowledge will never be mastered without diligent effort, end quote. And I think that it ties back into this one about the eternal issues and the high stakes of we put so much effort in all these other things that are fleeting, and yet the thing that has the most high stakes, right? You have to really want it. Yeah. You have to really want it. You have to seek after God, and when you don't want it, you say, Lord, help my unbelief. Help me to want you more. Change my desires to want you more. Because again, it's such an important issue. It's an eternal issue. The stakes are so high, and nothing else is as high.
What would you say some good ways are to really want this, to pursue after this, even when other things get distracting?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because sometimes it doesn't feel tangible, you know? And it's the walk of faith where, I mean, the enemy's thrilled when you're stuck in athletics and finance. Not that those are bad things, but that's fine. That has no eternal value, but he wants to keep you away from the spiritual things. He wants to keep you away from the eternal things because he knows the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you got to constantly run to God. Lord, change my desires, shape my desires, because I want to do what I want to do. But no, Lord, help me to do what you want me to do. Help me to seek more. And it's that eternal perspective that's hard, but I think that's what is so important about the surrender life. What do you think there?
I would agree with that. It's just so important to intentionally seek out these things, not get distracted, always come back to this place of looking to God first, which I know I struggle with a ton. I mean, we see Jesus, he always took time off to go alone, pray in the wilderness, recenter his mind on God, and then he'd go back out in the public and carry out his public ministry and everything. But it said that he'd get up early in the morning and pray to God. At night, he would pray to God. He was just always praying. So I think prayer is a really good way to help center yourself back on God, which can also be really challenging at the same time.
Yeah, and it's building that priorities of your life and surrounding people that have those priorities. Not that all your friends should be Christians, because that's a miss too.
Yeah.
But keeping people in your life and those inner spaces of your life, and this is why our friendship has been so awesome. Of when you see someone else who's on fire for God, you also want to be on fire for God. And I think I've seen that in you so many times where it's like, man, like I need to hold. Like I know Ethan has his priorities lined up, and now the joy and the peace that overflows, man, I want that too. And so it's so encouraging to have that fellowship of Christians. That's what Bible study is so amazing. If you leave that place and like, man, I got to do better in my faith because everyone else is too. And not that it's a competition, but Paul talks about building each other up. Like if you're going to strive at anything, strive at like outdoing each other in love for each other and love for God. And then the rest of the priorities just fall in place.
Yeah. And it's so nice when someone takes that initiative to seek after God. And it's like you can look up to those people who do it. I mean, you started your Bible study and everything, worship nights, just having that good community, having leaders who prioritize God is very important to have that in your life, and it really helps you grow in your faith and others grow in their faith as well.
Yeah. One more quote I want to hit on. It's a long one, so it's going to take up 2 slides. For in the last little bit of time that we have, this is kind of the end. The way he ends the chapter. This is kind of the crux of his argument to open the book. He says this. This is one reason why the diligent study of the Bible is so important. It is here that God has given us the instruction we need to be able to tell right from wrong and truth from error. Without understanding its principles, its precepts, and we become victims of our own subjectivity. How profitable is subjectivity if our conscience has been seared, our heart hardened, and our minds blinded to all moral distinctions? An authentic faith requires an honesty of mind, the consistent use of the means of knowledge and instruction, the humility that it fosters the desire to be instructed, an unprejudiced conclusion about what this inquiry reveals. If we approach the study of the Bible in this way, God fulfills his promises. If we seek and we keep on seeking, we will find. If we ask and we keep on asking, we will receive. If we knock and we keep on knocking, the door to truth will be opened. How can we refuse such an offer like this? Yet it is such an opportunity is accompanied by such responsibility. If we settle for cultural Christianity and remain ignorant or unresponsive to authentic faith, what kind of justification will we be able to give to God? And this is really just convicted me, and I think is just the heart of the reason why we're doing this, the heart of Bible study, is if we just, and it goes back to that desiring God part.
Yeah.
He's given it to you, and if you seek and you keep on seeking, and even when you don't feel like seeking, you say, Lord, help me want you more. I mean, he will. Yeah. That's the light of his heart. He wants nothing more than to do that.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, honestly, there could be a whole video, a whole book on just this one quote, because there's so much.
So much.
It's kind of hard to know where to start on it. Something that stood out to me is, what justification will we be able to give God? Kind of this idea of, we can pretend as much as we want that what the Bible says doesn't matter, that we don't actually have to live like this. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what we think, because we're going to have to stand before God and give a justification. I heard it broken down recently. Someone was talking about, like, every year of your life kind of going through on Judgment Day, saying, like, how did I handle this social media? What did I say to this friend and stuff? Not that it's going to be exactly like that, but when you think about it in terms of every single action I do, God knows about, and I want to reflect him well, not poorly. It really helps put things into perspective.
Yeah. I think that this is just really the desire for this group, and what we desire for every single person who hears this, of just seek and keep on seeking, and take the Bible with this responsibility and this weight, and really just take it and take God at his word and say, Lord, I just want to seek you more. Lord, I want to know you more. And man, there's a responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. And that's really where we're going to be heading through this. It's a blast to get to do this. Thank you for putting up with us as we do this for the first time. And we're going to watch it back and probably be like, oh gosh, there's a lot to improve for next time. But we're excited to dive into this book and dive into this study. And our words are not special, but even William Wilberforce's words aren't special, even though he is much smarter than we will ever be. But it's the word that God has through this and through his word. And we're so excited to see just the opportunity to get to have this and to get to do this and to get to grow and see what happens. So thank you all. I'm really excited for this book, and it keeps convicting me, and I'm excited to go through with all of you. So
yeah, super fun.
Yeah. Ethan's the best for coming, so thank you to him.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it's super fun.
Well, thank you guys. Cool.
Nice. All right.